Time to put up our imaginary sleeves because today, my little grains, we're going to be turning this $1 vase into a sculpture that I would not be ashamed to sell for well over $300. So I'm going to be counting time and material, and you'll see the total cost at the end of this video. And the reason I want something absolutely epic is because this week's video is a collaboration with Kat from Dollightful. If you don't know Kat from Dollightful, she makes the most amazing doll customizations I have ever seen. You know what the customization is going to look like, but as you're seeing her work on it, it's just a work of art. She really is a magician. Throughout this whole collaboration, I found out that her and I were very similar. She's just so colorful and absolutely sweet. Am I tooting my own horn? I'm colorful and sweet too. Actually, I'm pretty salty, pretty dark too. Okay, so she's the opposite of me. She really is an absolute sweetheart. Make sure you check out her channel. It'll be in the iCard section and description box below, and most likely the pinned comment, of course. And go tell her that you are a grain and that you are now a Dollightful grain. One of my favorite customizations that she's made is the Jolteon doll. It's just, there's something about it that gives me goosebumps. Look, I have goosebumps now. So I'll link to that, of course, down below so you can check it out. This week's shoutouts are from my P.O. Box, Layla from the YouTube channel LPS Layla, who sent this absolutely adorable little comic, and Kyrie, who sent this super cute environment of a bunny. Normally, I take comments and pictures from Instagram and Twitter, and once in a while, I'll go into my P.O. Box. So if you want to shout out in my Friday videos, don't forget to hashtag Notification Squad in the comment section below within the first 45 minutes of a video's release, or hashtag NerdyCrafter on Instagram or Twitter anytime with any of your creations. Alright, so the idea I have for this vase, because I wanted to have something that's functional but also fun as a decoration.
You know how I keep saying I'm not really good at drawing, and then some of you politely say,
"No, Jackie, you're really good at drawing."
Well, here's my sketch of what I wanted to make. You can't even tell what Pokemon they look like because they all look like Pikachu.
So I want to make an environment on this piece over here, and the vase will go right on top of it. As I was looking at it and designing it, I'm like, this is not enough. This is not epic enough, and I want this to be epic for Kat. So on top of these elements over here, I'm going to be adding a Pokemon underneath to support the whole thing.
And yep, here comes chubby Pikachu. What's even wrong with his eyes?
Am I going to regret giving myself so much work? The answer is most likely, because I always underestimate how much work something takes. So it's going to be a really fun mixed media, in which my weapon of choice mainly is going to be Sculpey, rocks and leaves, and paint, and some blood, sweat, and tears. Hopefully no blood, because I really don't want to cut myself, please. I don't want to cut myself. Enough delay, let's do the doing!
I'm so pumped!
So it turns out that my clay is a little too crumbly, so let's head out to the craft store and pick some new ones. Alright, so we have the original or super Sculpey. I have no idea what the difference is. I'm just gonna touch them, smush them, see which one's better. Got my stuff. It's like $9 with my coupon. Oftentimes, when starting a project this big, you want to make sure that you use an armature or just aluminum foil right in the middle. And your best friend is definitely liquid Sculpey. I stared at the pieces for so long before I could figure out how do I start this. And even though pieces were wonky and bumpy and not very nice, a lot of smoothing. I promise you guys, a lot of smoothing was done in the background. I think maybe 50% of the time was spent smoothing the pieces together. Otherwise, it wouldn't look as good as it does. I want you guys to guess which Pokemon I'm making right now, so make sure you use that poll on the top side over there. Who do you think I'm making? The only hint I'm gonna give you is that it kind of has no neck-ish. Well, kind of like a pig, you know? It's very compact in terms of the neck. For those of you who guessed Venusaur, nay, it is not Venusaur. It's actually Ivysaur. I know some of the body and bulkiness is kind of Venusaur-y, but let's just pretend the spirit of Venusaur has invaded this Ivysaur. When Kat and I decided to do a collaboration, we actually told each other our favorite Pokemon, but neither of us has any idea whatsoever what the other person made. So I sent her my list and she sent me her list, and on her list she had Venusaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Jolteon, Pikachu, Pidgey, and the evolutions. So I wanted to surprise her. Instead of just making one, I wanted to make a couple of them. Thin pieces of clay get me really nervous because they're pretty fragile, but we're gonna do our best to make sure that they stick and stay.
So far, so good. Angel was just like screaming in the background, right? Yeah, and he just wanted to hang out, so we're hanging out, right? Are we hanging out? Yeah, we're hanging out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove this in the oven for about 30 minutes and pray to the baking gods because we definitely need it. We have a lot of fragile leaves going on here. Actually, no, I forgot something. I'm gonna put the little bulb over here, but I'm not going to shape it because that's what the plaque is going to go on top. And now we need to do our prayer. Ready? Put our hands together. Dear baking gods of Evermore, please protect my piece from cracks, burns, and fallen limbs. And also,
stop breaking my stuff!
alright, while the other piece is drying from the spray paint, I almost forgot the word, we're going to go ahead and start on the other part of the sculpture. So this is going to be our environment. We only have this much space to work on. So what I need to do is put a layer of grass, which is always the fun part. So what I want to do is I'm going to leave a bit of a blank space over here because I do want to do a resin pour, and we're going to do a couple of Pokemon down here and one hanging from the side up there. I am really curious to know, what are your favorite Pokemon? Naturally, I tend to fall for those who are underdogs like Magikarp and Psyduck. They have a very special place in my heart. Maybe it's because they remind me of me. Absolutely derpy, sometimes useless.
If ever you're going to make an environment on a piece of wood, make sure that you do scratch the wood just a little bit and then add your liquid Sculpey. That's going to create a suction and make sure that your piece doesn't fall off after baking, because clay is going to be like,
nah bro, I don't want to stick, so you figure it out.
I was so focused in making the grass that I had just almost forgotten to make the indent for the stream of the water that we're going to put later on. So yeah, that was really important, but my brain was like, now for the fun part, we can actually make the log for the first Pikachu. I'm not even joking. Like in the drawing, it looks like Pikachu, and I promise you, in the log, we're having Pikachu. There's something so relaxing about making a log of wood. I don't know what it is. I highly encourage you give it a try and then put creatures on it and moss. And it's so fun and relaxing. It's almost like going out in the forest without having to worry about bugs. That's my kind of forest.
Pikachu?
Alright, time to add some rocks. These are rocks that were from my local park. I paid my taxes, I'm okay. And this I got from a kit, which I hadn't used all of them. So I'm going to be putting some of them over here. I put the vase here just so that I can have an idea of what space I have. A little bit of rocks. Then I decided the Pokemon that I was going to put here, I'm just not going to do it because it's just going to be too slanty. I don't know. I really do want to put something over here though, so maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. But I'm going to put another sleeping Pokemon on top of this mushroom. Let's see if you can guess what it is. Make sure that you vote. What do you think it is?
One of the many challenges of this project had to do with the colors, because red is everyone's favorite color. Sarcasm, by the way.
This is what happens when you don't pray to the baking gods. They are vengeful and they are mean because the little mushroom couldn't make it. So the best way for me to patch it up is probably with either resin or with more clay, but I'm gonna leave that to the end after I put everything. And then for the last bake, we're gonna try and patch it up. I have a piece of advice for you all. If your blood pressure is ever low and you want to make sure that you get, a little bit of rage mode inside you, I highly recommend that you craft with yellows, reds, and whites, because these colors all like mix into each other. Even if you think you washed your hand, you will get that red onto the white. Even if you've used it like 10 colors ago, it'll make an appearance. Seriously though, if you're ever going to be working with these colors, I still highly recommend rubbing alcohol, because I'm crafting, cleaning, crafting, cleaning, 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 crafting, crafting, cleaning. That's the cycle.
Seeing this spiky mane, I am 100% sure that most of you now already know which Pokemon I'm making. I'm sure you probably saw that it was yellow and you're like, Jackie, again, you said no Pikachu. I promise it's not Pikachu. Making this sleeping Jolteon was probably one of the hardest pieces I made, because as you can see here how tiny it is barely bigger than my thumbnail. So recreating something is already challenging, but recreating something smaller than your thumbnail? Why do I do this to myself? Do I like to suffer? Do I like to be a sucker of punishment? What is the meaning of crafting?
Just to be clear, I want you grains to know that I am not a good crafter. I am just very patient sometimes, and I really do things over and over and over until I get them right. So this Jolteon took me about 4 tries before I was able to get it something similar-ish to what I wanted, and no less than, what time is it? This guy took me 2 hours and a half. Don't wish you were as good as someone. Just take your time, have fun.
Now is the time we actually patch up the mushroom, and I'm going to give you one last time to guess which Pokemon is this one. Make sure that you vote. Although Mudkip wasn't on Dollightful's list of favorite Pokemon, I needed a blue one so that it works and kind of has a sense of cohesiveness with the water that I'm going to put later on. I am so excited for her to see this sculpture. I am so nervous because I never ship anything out. So the fact that I had to pack this up into a box, ship it all the way to Korea, made me so nervous. So I'm hoping as she unboxes it, because she has no idea what I made, I didn't send her pictures, didn't give her any hints. Well, I did give her a hint. I just said it was something useful. I am so excited to see her reaction opening this sculpture. Granted, hopefully it is in one piece. For the water, I'm using UV resin from Sophie and Toffee. And what I did is I put them on either edge so that it doesn't spill over, and then hardened it with UV light. If you don't have UV light, you could just leave it on a windowsill and let it harden.
By the way, that water is glow in the dark.
To put everything together, I am using a glue gun, but it's not the normal glue gun that would come off. This is like an industrial one, and it would take a lot of effort to get anything out. And I kid you not, it is so sturdy. Look how sturdy it is. Yeah, you can shake it and it shouldn't break, but the post office will probably find a way. Now for the last bit is painting Venusaur. I did some dry brushing, multiple layers of paint. The green on its own took me about 8 layers. Carp. This was so fun to put together. I really wanted to glaze it with resin, that way the pieces are a lot sturdier, so hopefully they do survive the postal trip all the way to Dollightful. I also added some moss and grass just to give it a little more interest.
Me good. Here we are 4 days later. It's taken quite some time. I'm gonna do the calculation for you grains later on, but I am so happy with it. I've gone into finer details, some things I had to do off camera because it was just so tedious. But overall, I am extremely happy with it. I think taking something that is from the dollar store and transforming it completely, it just gives it so much more life and it gives it a personality that is suited to you. Time for the calculations. So in total, this sculpture took me 25.5 hours. I spent 8 hours on a Sunday, 10 hours on a Monday, 5 hours on a Tuesday, and 2.5 hours on the last day. If we were to calculate minimum wage as my price at $11.35 Canadian, the total just for labor would be $289.43.
Bruh.
So for those of you who are asking artists for commissions and they tell you a price and you're like, that's too expensive, you have to keep in mind how long it takes to make things. And that's not all. Let's calculate some of the materials roughly. By the way, I'm adding tax. The vase was about $1.15. I used 3/4 of a huge block of clay. That was $8.63. I used 3 full blocks of the smaller clay at about $3 each. It was $10.35. Resin, I used about 22 milliliters, which comes to $1.40. UV resin, about 15 milliliters, which comes to $5.62. And miscellaneous like wires and plants and glue gun stick and all that stuff is more or less about $2 to $3. So in total, very roughly, is $318.15. And of course, I'm not counting skill nor design. If I really were to put this on the market, I would very happily sell this at least $500. That's just me. There's a reason why I don't sell things on the market. But I've seen other amazing sculptures go for at least $500 with only 1 layer as opposed to all of this. Mind you though, they're way more skilled than I am. So make sure you check out Kat's video because I am really excited to see what her reaction is upon receiving this. So far I have no idea which Pokemon she made for me and she has no idea what I made. So she's going to unbox it and see exactly what I made, and I'm going to unbox hers before our videos go out and see it. So that video will come out later even though I've seen it before our videos collaboration came out. Does that make sense? By the way, just so that we're clear, I packed the box. Inside that box is the sculpture, and I'm putting the box into another box. And I'm gonna put stuff all around to make sure that nothing breaks. So I'll leave all her information everywhere. I'll leave it everywhere. And thank you again so much for collaborating with me. This was so much fun. I really miss crafting with clay more often, but you know what? If you guys enjoy it, I'll make more. Y'all are my bosses. What do you think? Did I do okay? Thank you so much for watching, grains. Until then, I will see you in the next video. If you want to watch a crafty video, check it out up here. And if you want to watch something salty, you know what you gotta do. Salt is in our veins.